Hey everybody, welcome back to another Love It or Skip It review from Spin Rack. Today we're going to be talking about that new film from our boy Spike Lee. It is called The Highest to the Lowest. Of course, it is starring Denzel Washington as David King. That's right, David King, a hell of a name. And I gotta say, this is a star vehicle for Denzel Washington. He is freaking killing it. But the question is whether this is really Spike Lee's highest film or his lowest film, and it's really going to be up to you to make a decision on that. So let's just give you a quick background on this. This actually comes from Akira Kurosawa. He had a movie called High and Low, going back all the way into the 1960s, and so now they flipped it. I agree with he was like some type of, I guess, shoe company guy. Here they've made it into a New York City music company, that he's basically running, and he is he's about to sell the company. The one thing about this film, just right off the bat, I gotta say, and no one's going to disagree with this, is that it is beautiful to look at. The cinematography, whoever did that, is off the chain. In addition, it is also a vehicle for ASAP Rocky. That's right, aka Rihanna's hubby, baby daddy. He's in the film too, and he plays the character Young Felon. And I gotta say, he's playing himself basically, but he does a good job of it. So it is that what we have to look into. Robert Daniels is the guy who is, I believe, the screenwriter who, he basically redid the movie, but redid the screenplay, excuse me. But he is the one that we're looking at. But let's get back to this and see what happens. By the way, this was actually in the movie theater, I believe, last week, and now it is out on Apple TV. And it is a big hit so far. A lot of people are liking it. But what do you think about it? So the basic thing is, this is our man, David King. He's trying to sell his record company, or he's about to sell. He wakes up in the morning, it's supposed to be sold. He has a change of heart when he wakes up the next morning. He's like, I want to hold on to my company. It's called Stacking Hit Records. And he was a music producer. He had tons of hits in the past, but right now he's been on a slow spell. The company isn't doing as well as it used to do. He's not making as much money, but he has an off-the-chain Dumbo. That's downtown Brooklyn penthouse duplex apartment overlooking I believe, the East River, the Brooklyn Bridge, and is looking at the skyline of Lower Manhattan. I'm just telling you, I don't know what it is, but that's a baller apartment. He claims he's tight on cash. That apartment's got to be worth at least 50 mil. But I digress. Let's get back to the story. So in the film here, his son gets kidnapped, right? And what they do, they ask for $17.5 million, but they want it in $1,000 franc notes, basically the dollars, their version of the dollars. And the reason is that if you convert the $17.5 million and put it into 1,000 franc notes, it can be put into a book bag. And so that's the crazy thing. I mean, just think about it. Somebody sat down and taught the calculations and said $17.5 million can convert into 1,000 franc notes, and it can be easily put in a book bag. Because of course, if you can't walk around with $17.5 million $1 bills, you can't walk around with 10 or 20 or 100. It's a case. It's huge. But a 1,000 franc note, which are accepted, can be put in a book bag, and that's really someone thinking above and beyond what's going on. So they asked for the son to ransom the son, but guess what? They grabbed the wrong guy. They grabbed Jeffrey Wright, who plays the best friend, the chauffeur, the confidant of David King. He and his son basically live in in his duplex penthouse, but he's also best friends with David King's son. And he's like, I don't know if I can pay this ransom, because right now, like I said at the very beginning, he's trying to purchase his company. He's trying to get a kibosh on a sale and purchase himself, so he has full control of the company. And so he's playing a game on two sides. Like, I need the money that I'm getting to buy the company, but when it's my son, but here's the click. When it was his son, he didn't care. He was going to take the money that he was going to do for the sale, and he was going to buy it. The problem is that the dilemma is whether he should also do it for his friend's son. And that's really what everybody's trying to call him out. His own son is like, what are you going to do, Dad? You can't be doing the wrong thing. You can't even be contemplating it. These guys, Jeffrey Wright and his son, have been mad tight with us forever. This is my best friend. How can you not even consider, even doing it? But after a lot of soul searching, and I say, hey, that's a 50-50, a lot of soul searching, he decides that, he's going to pay it. But here's the gist. Way he pays it is that he's the money that he got from the people to buy back Stacking Hits records. He's using that, along with whatever money he has, and he's putting the 17.5 million together. He then gives now on the other side, the person who's behind all this is a guy by the name of Young Felon. That's A$AP Rocky. And A$AP Rocky is like, I've always admired, I've always wanted to be you, David King. I've given you my tapes and all that type of stuff, and nothing, you haven't even looked at me. You don't even want to know what's going on with me. So that's where you have that whole, well, it comes from two reasons you get the highest and the lowest. Highest in that David King is super high and Young Felon is super low. At the same time, his son keeps telling his father, David King, his son, keeps trying to tell his father, like, hey, his name is Trey King, hey, I have an artist that I think you should listen to, and she's really good, and she sings the song Highest to the Lowest. But yeah, but getting back to the whole thing. So Young Felon is the one who's thinking this up. He's like, yo, since you don't want to listen to my song, since you don't want to put me onto your thing, I'm going to take from you what I should have been getting from you. And so that's why he develops this whole kidnap. Now, I got to say, the kidnap thing is, when he finds out that it's the son, the friends that he grabbed, you know what he says? I don't care. I still want the 17.5 million. Now, two things come to mind. Why 17.5 million? Is there a specific thing? Is there something that he wants with that? Or is it just that he knows that's how much would fit exactly in a book bag with 1,000 Swiss francs? So, I mean, again, this dude is like devilish, is like freaking good. So he has David King, do all this elaborate stuff to try to get the money. The police are coming after him. They're going to deliver the money. So Young Felon sets up a whole series of, basically a New York subway ride. Of course, it's not really the subway, but it's still a New York subway ride going through, saying it's the train that he's supposed to be on. But here's the kicker, he tells David King to go in between two cars, right? And you're outside, and then someone presses the emergency brake, and boom, he loses the bag. The bag just falls, and that bag falls directly into somebody's hands. I'm like, oh my goodness. So before we even get there, before we continue with that thread, let's go back a little bit more, because I forgot one thing that it kind of threw me off too. Is, hey, where, Denzel Washington has been in many, many movies, right? In many movies where he is an investigator, many, many movies where he is like one of the top, he's been involved in hostage negotiations and stuff like that. And one thing that gets me is that the one thing they never ask for is a proof of life. I mean, no proof of life. Not a finger, not a toe, not an ear, not a picture with the date on it. He just this guy hit the first, his son is when they thought he was kidnapped. They didn't get a picture, and then when they grabbed the friend, they didn't ask for a picture. But I'm like, say, come on, man, this dude was in The Equalizer. The Equalizer would have known to do something like that. Come on. I mean, and not only that, I mean, there's other movies that he was involved in that had these that type of situation. But hey, that's what it is. It is what it is. We have to let that go and continue. But let's get back to what I was talking about. So the money, the book bag just falls out of his hands. I don't understand if he threw it out, but he falls out of his hand, and it falls into this waiting guy who's totally wrapped up in a black jacket and mask, and he jumps on a moped, and he passes it back to other people, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, to finally, when the cops finally catch one of these moped guys, he doesn't have it. His bag again, brilliant. Brilliant in thinking about the fact that the money would be in Swiss francs. Brilliant that the money would be able to fit into the book bag. Brilliant in actually getting the son. Well, I guess you messed up. You missed the son. You got the friend. But still brilliant. And yet now you have all these little minions running around who look alike in mopeds, and the cops catch the wrong guy, and he doesn't have the money. So now David is out of the money. And here's the thing. Board comes back to him and says, yo, dude, we have a side problem. You are supposed to be buying the company. You took the money that you're supposed to buy the company, but guess what? You used it to ransom your son or your son's friend. Guess what's that called? It's called fraud, baby. Now, if you don't remedy this soon, guess what? This goes to court or goes let out. So that's the dilemma he has. Now we have Denzel David King, a man on a mission. He's got to get this money back. He's got to find out where it is. So he's like trying to figure out what happened. By the way, they do let go of the friend, and he's sent to the hospital. And they're like, "Yo, did you see anything? Did you hear anything?" No, they had him pretty tightly bound. He was in a tub over and over, but he did say he heard one thing. He did feel one thing. He kept on hearing this song again and again. It kept on coming back, 4 and 4. But nobody knew what to make of it because nobody heard the song, right? Nobody knew what was going on. But this was the song by Young Felon, our boy A$AP Rocky. And it's the name of the song. You'll see this is a song that's played again and again. And of course, that bass is like off the chain. And he's playing it again and again. But A$AP Rocky, that's his song. And they play it again and again. I think it's actually called Trunks. That's the actual name of it. But that's the song that he hears. So David King is like, the cops are trying to figure out, they can't figure out where this guy was, what's going on. But he just starts listening to this. When the son told him what the song is about, the friend's son told him about I should have this guy's name, the beat. He was like, the beat, he gave the beat. I'm not even going to give you the beat because I'm not that good at the beat. But the beat, he like relays the beat to David. He starts hearing, so he starts listening to all these different songs. Remember, he's a musician. He listens to songs, he listens to music, he listens to beats. And so guess what? He realizes, bam, who it is right off the bat. It's Young Felon, because guess what? Young Felon had given him the frigging song as a release so he could try to release him. But no, bro. It's like, he gets it, and now all of a sudden he knows who Young Felon is. He tells the cops like, He goes after him. He goes into the Bronx. He's taking his boy Jeffrey Wright. They're looking for this guy because they beat up his son. He's looking for it. He finds the guy's apartment in the Bronx. And, of course, this is in the high bridge section with those long stairs. If you remember the Joker, those stairs are super, super long. I've been up there. I walked them up a couple of times, and I tell you, it's no fun. So no wonder people don't want to walk down those daggone steps until the Joker, of course, made everybody go out there. But let's skip that. The point of the matter is they go to his place. They break into his place. And who does he meet? He meets his girl. He meets Young Felon's girl. But here's the crazy part about this, right? She's Puerto Rican, cool, and she has a baby and she thinks, oh my goodness, David King is in our apartment. Yo, dude, Young Felon will be so happy. He idolizes you. He loves everything about you. You are, his whole dream. Even when he went to prison, it was all about you, bro. He even named his son after you. That's how crazy this is. Continuing, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is a nut. And Denzel is just playing it in the pocket, just taking it easy, just like, yo, wow, that's interesting. But here's another issue you gotta think about it. Why in the world did they have Ice Spice in the movie? She literally makes a cameo for 2 seconds and then steps off. 2 seconds and then steps off. She could have been the love interest. I don't know why she wasn't. It would have made a lot of sense. Then you could say Ice Spice is in the movie. Here, all I can say is Ice Spice walked in and walked out. She got introduced and that was it. But hey, I think it would have helped. She could have showed her acting chops. Who knows? But continuing, she then finds out the girlfriend basically tells him where Young Felon is. He's like, yo, he's down in the studio. So he goes down to this basement studio and he finds him. By the way, he got a gun. And he goes on there. And this is probably, to me, one of the best parts of the screen where they have an unscripted moment between Denzel Washington and A$AP Rocky where they start doing a freestyle battle between themselves right there. And it's like, yo, Denzel actually has another time when he does something like that, which is really, really good. And I think that's one of the best things in the show. If you get to see it, it's really good between him and A$AP Rocky. Of course, after a while, A$AP Rocky, he's like, yo, you got to turn yourself in. He's like, I ain't doing it. And there commences a fight, a shootout in the fight, and he eventually gets caught. But here's the blip. He's now one of the most famous guys around. His song is blowing up, and he's done a billion streams. And you know what he does when he goes to jail? He calls for David King to come out. He says, yo, I'll idolize you. I got all these different record companies coming after me. I'm in jail. Of course, there's a law that says you're not supposed to be able to profit off of your criminal deeds. But remember, it's a movie. He says, yo, I want you to be my record guy. And so David King, Denzel's like, you know what? Trying to be a music exec, trying to do all these things just probably isn't something I should do anymore. And so he turns down. And, A$AP can't. It just flips out. Can't understand how the hell that happened. because he finally made it. He's a huge star. At a record exec, he should be picking him up, but he decides, you know what, I'm changing all that. This whole thing has taught me that, I can't be doing all this. So he decides to sell the company. Boom, he doesn't bring on young felon, and he starts a smaller company with the artist that his son brought forward with the title track, Lowest to Highest. Now, gotta go back to everybody, and I gotta say, hey, is this movie, for me, I thought it was really good. It was fun. The New York visual, even when some of them were wrong, was cool. It's a love story to New York, if you ask me. But, and the overall premise seems pretty good. It's just that there's some parts that just drive me nuts. Overall, I'm saying, don't skip it. If you're a Spike Lee fan, you're gonna love it. If you're a Denzel fan, you're gonna love it. If you're an A$AP Rocky fan, you're gonna love it. But if you were really into like serious, like everybody doing the right thing, a serious hostage negotiation movie or whatever, I gotta say you may not be that crazy about it. If you're into hip hop and stuff, you'll love to see the way old school Denzel does it. It's crazy. I mean, this movie really is telling us stuff like, the contrast between those all the way on the high. I mean, the Dumbo apartment is off the chain. And then you see him in a standard Bronx tenement building. You can't go. It's just bananas. I like A$AP Rocky. Also, the going back to the Dumbo apartment, the artwork is off the chain. That's all I can say, man. If you like it, if you like what you hear, give me a thumbs up. Hey, if you don't like it, comment. If you like it, comment. I want to hear what you got to say, and I'd like to continue the conversation. Spinner Rack out.
Hey, this is PD adding on to Cal's video. I saw highest to lowest, and I saw Cal's review of it. And I would like to say this movie did not work for me. It's definitely a visually strong movie, gives you the feel of being in New York City. But some of the problems I have with Spike's storytelling, which he is a strong storyteller, but at the same time, it just kind of loses its direction. So it has as it's tough to say because you have a very simple premise, a hostage situation. And then, of course, they add a little twist to it, which was good, obviously. And then the problem being is that the whole setup to the heist, actually, no, I'm sorry. The beginning needed to be a little bit snappier as far as the content and then the business of the music studio. It definitely needed to have some sort of bounce and flair to it, not just trying to. There's a Spike movies, and then there's kind of like the Love Jones and that sort of thing. And Spike isn't the best at doing the Love Jones type of black cinema. Spike is best doing the Spike stuff. So pushing the boundaries, tragedy, all that stuff is what Spike does, right? Kind of doing, hey, this is a successful black man in a successful job, doing his thing, this, that, and the other. His thing is pushing it further past that. So in my mind, he should have pushed it further and had a little more bounce to it, or maybe having someone doctor the script a little more to get you some energy into that open-end scene. So you are not caught up with saying, when is it going to ransom going to happen? When is the thing's going to happen? You're supposed to be able to be in the theater rather than being like, oh, I'm not really interested in what they're talking about here, right? Even though you're talking about positive things, someone owning his own record thing, a record company, that sort of thing, someone forcing them into doing something. So it was just need to be snappy in the beginning. The ransom part, that was the more interesting part of who in the circle might have been party to it. And then, of course, the twist was interesting. And then, of course, for me, from that point of the actual heist of taking the money, that's something out of Kananga and Live and Let Die, right? Where we have this high supervillain kind of escape with the money thing that happens with a network of hood guys running around bicycle back and forth, back and forth. And the problem is, if you're gonna do a Die Hard, you got to set up that you do a Die Hard. You got to have something crazy happen in the beginning to set up that there's gonna be some wild action, so you don't sit there and say, "What's this? Like, why are we having a perfectly timed train stop to lose the money, which leads drops right into the possible criminal's hands." So one of the things that Spike has always been able to do, and no one has commented on, is that he's been able to take things from other genres and kind of put it in the film and saying, this is a film technique. So it's like saying, hey, this James Bond a money ransom thing, I'm going to throw that in here because it's a very visual thing. But then it's like, well, these guys are high in math and timing and all these things to kind of make sense of it, rather than it drops and then they say, what, figure where it drops not to be, well, they probably did it where they didn't have it right by, but they probably looked at it and said, let's see the shot where it drops right in his hand. Oh, that works. He went to the test audience, they loved that. But that didn't work for me at all. So that was kind of the weaker scenes. And then has a climax. Of course, it's going to be lead up to Denzel and the antagonist ASAP Rocky run into each other, and those scenes were okay. But then we just had your standard villain beatdown, and then the character moves off into the sunset. And I understand Spike, Denzel's been in 2 tragedies, and he's been in one, not necessarily a tragedy. Things worked out for Denzel's character in The Inside Man, and then he wanted someone to succeed even more. And then, if you see the hat that he has on here, they have a transition that looks like this hat that's here. They have a transition that doesn't work into the thing at all. And I was just like, what is going on in this movie? So I think I had another story called The Birthday Party. I think I brought it up a bunch of times about a guy who gets kidnapped for money, which might have been a little more interesting, that dealt with some hip hop subject matter. It's a very good book if you check it out. It's someone who's actual experience of being kidnapped in New York City. So it was like the symbolism of what we see here felt like it would have been perfect for this story. But I understand this is a Kurosawa movie idea that based on that idea adapted. So it definitely holds more weight than the book I'm talking about. But I think it would have been very more interesting to kind of play up that story, and then you get a more twist in something we've seen where we want to see Ransom, the movie that who was it? Mel Gibson was in, done by Ron Howard, or this? And that's the question you have to have. Did we get anything more besides having Denzel in it? And that was always a struggle when I was watching Love Jones and this. Is it I'm here for Nia Long and whoever Isaiah Washington's girlfriend is in the story, and that's about it. I'm sticking in it for that, or some of the other movies that are out during the period, or Sanaa Lathan. So story-wise, I'm not going back to the story for the story. So I'm saying for this, I'm not coming back for Denzel, and I might not come back to it. So I think, and it's tough because the Red Hook Summer, Miracle at St. Anna, there've been some kind of storytelling flaws or kind of leading the audience in a direction when things don't necessarily work this way. The police are not interested in paying ransoms, right? The police are not interested in paying ransoms. And they only want to pay ransoms if the person agrees, as it happened here, and if the bills are marked. It's not just putting the track on there, the bills have to be marked. So, we catch up to the person at some point. So obviously it had to be laundered and so to be. But the way he stole the money, obviously you have some way to launder the money. So anyway, my bigger issue is the moral dilemma. Does Denzel pay the ransom or does he not? Right? And then his friend said, "Hey, you're gonna pay the ransom for your son, but not for mine." Yes. His son says, "You're gonna pay the ransom for me and not for him." Yes. The idea is that, and you've gotten in arguments about this, is that this thing of TV turning to you and saying you need to pay the ransom. It's you watching those Saw movies and saying someone put you in a dilemma where you could kill yourself or kill another person. It's on you because that person died. It's not on you. The person who's put you in a situation is the problem, not you. But the thing is like, who can I hit first? Who am I closest to hit? And that's the person who's the victim. The family is the victim too. So this thing of TV having to play out for an hour, 2 hours of how, you have to, and then you can also be a jerk to the person when you're asking them to do a big, huge favor. You need to just beg. You need to beg over and over until the person says yes. Please, please. That's how you get someone to do something, not, guilt them into it. Because some person well, he's not really that bad a guy in the story. He's a tough music exec, but he's not terrible. So obviously this thing, but this kind of, hey, look, Dad, how well you're liked in social media. Hey, what about my social media? It's like, what? I understand we're in the future, but you also have an adult to be like, I don't care. What does it matter what the social media says? So yeah, I think for their last outing together, I would have wanted to knock it out the park, and they did not do that. So as to say, because I talk about Spike in general, even though I struggle with it, I kind of always go back to School Days, like Mo Better Blues, and then there's bits in these other movies that I like, but obviously Malcolm X, it's the Inside Man. Obviously there's scenes in well, I could talk for days about Spike Lee movies and bits and stuff that he did in there. You know, so the filmography. I can say I was going through it since this is their last. The levees broke. The docs he's done have been pretty strong. The levees broke. Four Little Girls. Those are kind of the best things for me. And then it would be Malcolm X, Inside Man, Mo Better Blues. He Got Game. He Got Game is really good. So yeah, there's more than, let's see. Yeah, there's a lot of movies here. Man, oh man, Four Little Girls. So the problem is, and I'm going to end it here. Problem is the movies that I dislike, I have a really hard time with, like Bamboozled. But the movies that I do like, Summer of Sam, Four Little Girls, He Got Game, No Better Blues, and I shook my head. I have to recommend School Days, even though there's tons of issues with it. The Inside Man, When the Levees Broke, and I'll say Malcolm X. So out of the average, it's a good average. It's not a 50%. It's not over 500, but he's definitely left his mark, and I hope it's tough because it feels like, what was it? They got how many movies together? This is 4. I don't want to say the best one was He Got Game, but Malcolm X might be the best one. Man, it's like Malcolm X, Inside Man, and He Got Game were so good, and this is the one that's the bagel and the crew. But that said, I was glad to see them together, and it definitely felt like a Spike project. Inside Man, less so, but it had some Spikeisms. I kind of wish those Spikeisms were in this movie, but Yeah, we got it. We got Jeffrey Wright in there. We got Mayhem. We got product placement. A24 had a product placement. We had, I think, State Farm line. Obviously, with Allstate, we got these because they said Mayhem. There's a lot of bits in there. Yankees, it's got to be Yankees. But Spike was a Mets fan. That's what Giancarlo Esposito said. And maybe we'll talk more about Spike. Hopefully, you guys like this video, and we'll see if we can talk more about Spike. Spinner Rack is going to be out for me